Welcome to Unselfishly Me, a podcast all about self-love, self-care, and everything in between. I'm Jane, a personal trainer with a focus on self-love. Each week, we'll be chatting to someone about their self-love journey, how long it took, and what it took to get there. Today's guest is Sureshnie Rider, aka Sushi. You might know her from 5am. She has been on The Breakfast Show for the last 18 years. She is a voiceover artist. She has done TV shows. She's done adverts. She is everywhere. You'll know her voice if you didn't think that you knew it before. She could have been an MC at a wedding or a corporate event that you've been to. She is a wife. She's a mom. She is just the most precious human. I just love her, and she's just so authentic. But you'll hear more about that in the episode. Maybe I feel super connected to her because she's an ex-Durban girl as well. So you'll hear all about her life, her love, all the major changes she has just gone through, but the light at the end of the tunnel as well. And I think that's the beauty of this episode, is she is teaching you that there is light after all the darkness. So I'm super excited for you to get to know Sushi more. So welcome, Sureshnie. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm a juggler. I always say this when I introduce myself because that's exactly how I feel. I juggle many roles in my life. I'm a mom to a 10-year-old. I've been a radio presenter, and I've been in the media industry for about 24 years. That is the body of work that I've created. I'm a journalism graduate. I'm a proud child, a second child to my mom and my dad. I'm just a voiceover artist and MC, and currently I am a brand creative strategist. But all in all, I'm a complete busybody, and I think if there's ever a definition, Sureshnie is omnipresent.
Oh, I love that. And it's so true of you. I just feel like you're always doing so many different things. And you must actually check your human design. I'm going to send you that as well. We were talking about astrology just before this. That's why I'm going to send you human design, because I am a manifesting generator. So we do lots of different things and lots of different like businesses and ideas, and I feel like you would be a manifesting generator or a generator, which is doing all the things and all the energy, and like, yeah, we look at you with the energy like, what are you doing?
Yeah, that word manifesting has become such a buzzword in my life recently, because it's only been about maybe a year or two that I started to connect with my inner self and learned the power. And it's weird because in 2007, just before I got married, I discovered Rhonda Byrne and The Secret. And that year of the marriage, I remember before I got married, that book helped me understand manifesting and the law of attraction. And I was so obsessed with it, and it worked. And obviously, somewhere in between, life happened and things happened. And now I found myself going back to the very first steps of learning how to manifest and doing these daily affirmations, things that I've never really understood. But now I feel like I'm connecting all over again in such a wonderful way. And yeah, please help me manifest and be this generator. Maybe I am, and I don't even realize it, because I think it's about the words, the box that it falls into. Like, I didn't realize the position that I really, really wanted was actually in a different word form. And the moment I heard what the current job is, I'm like, oh, that's what I actually wanted to do. I just didn't realize. So please, I'd love to be guided in every way.
Oh, I love it. Okay, we're going to get into the business stuff just now. I can't wait. But tell us, what does self-love mean to you?
I love that question. Self-love for Sush has been about acknowledging myself in every way, giving thanks to my body for carrying me through what I've just discovered is polycystic ovarian syndrome, going through the most with my body physically, giving thanks to the universe for all of the challenges, because I do embrace challenges, because I know those hurdles have actually helped me extend who I am and grow. And I've developed new neural paths in learning things. My self-love is about recognizing the changes I have gone through mentally and physically. I often hear people say, be gentle with yourself. And I know that is part of self-love. And I'm learning to be cognizant of the word. So I'm taking ease with myself. I'm also very happy with reaching those milestones. And I'm doing them now in my own time and my own pace. But I think for me, self love, the biggest part of self love is time, which is the most precious commodity that has taught me to really appreciate this value of being fully present. For someone like me who's worked in radio for so many years, radio, specifically a radio show, is defined by time. I have to run between songs and create magic on the radio, and I'm governed by time. And as a parent, it's what many of us do. We know that between 2 and 5 kids are home, they need this, this, and this. And between 5 and 7 is dinner prep time and a little bit of bath time and this. So time is just, I realized, is the biggest part of self-love and this journey of mine. And it's what I am loving the most. It's what I am acknowledging the most.
Oh, so beautiful. And it's so important. Once you, and you, we just had a little chat, but once you're connected to your body, it makes the world of difference in every single sense. So, what little self love practices do you do each day?
So, in the past, I'll say in the past year and a half, the first thing I started to do was to connect with myself because, like I said, I only recently discovered why my body was in such crisis and turmoil. And I just thought maybe it was just me being lazy or me just eating poorly and me just succumbing to stress. But it was actually my body shouting to me that there is a problem. And like I said, I've just recently discovered a couple of things that have just really affected me in every way. So, what I started to do in terms of that self care is to be very conscious of it. And I started journaling. A lot of the process of me unleashing my stress and working out what's going and not this question of, oh, why is it happening to me? I've always reversed that narrative to this is happening to me. How do I work with it? So journaling has become very important. Recently, my daughter and I have been doing breathing meditation. Can you believe the most basic thing like breathing? I battle to do,
Hmm.
and it's the easiest things because it just seems like such a task to breathe and breathe out stress and breathe out anxiety and breathe out things that are worrying me or things that are just irking or things that are lurking in the background that I don't want to think about. So, yeah, so we started doing breathing meditation for just a more relaxed sleep. I don't ever sleep properly. And for the first time in many months, I'm actually starting to sleep. I've discovered something that my very good friend Candice introduced me to. It's called the Mummy Golden Hour. I'm part of that 5 a.m. club. Obviously, doing an early morning breakfast show a couple of months ago, obviously for many years, I was getting up at 4, in fact, 3:30 to get ready for the show. So early mornings is not a problem. So I started getting up now just generally at 5 o'clock. And between 5 and 6, I call it the Mummy Golden Hour. It is the time that I use to write down and sit with my thoughts and my affirmations. I roll out this like mental plan of what needs to be done, like a little checkbox and task list. And that's become the best thing. I actually enjoy my cup of tea while I make everybody's lunch and all of that. I sit on one of Parvani's little baby chairs, which she still has, and I sit and I stare into like the garden. That's all I do. It's quiet time. It's just my mind. I'm a very busy person, and if you can imagine what my brain looks like on any given day, it's nuts. It's like a little factory of hamsters and it's crazy. But for the first time, I'm learning to slow things down and actually visualize things. And then on Sundays, I've started this new thing called Sunday self care, which I think many people have done for years. But for me, it's the first time I'm actually doing something, little things like I do a mask for my face, or I do a cleansing routine with my daughter, and we both put masks or sheet masks on, or we do our nails, or I use the time to wash my hair and her hair, and we both have very long hair. So it's like, it's also that bonding time with her, but it's time for me. It's an hour, 2 hours where I pluck my eyebrows or make sure that I look nice and tidy, and it's just a good little quiet bubble bath moment. So yeah, that's been my new thing.
I love that. And it's also teaching her to look after herself, and then it's for her and it's not for, society or the person she's dating or whatever in the future. It's actually just for her.
That me time is so precious. And I think what I've realized over the past couple of years, I've dropped the ball in that. And I've realized how little things has impacted me later, where then I look at myself and go, oh, I'm getting dark circles. And then I want to blame the whole world. But meanwhile, I could have had a great step in sorting it out myself by taking the first step to doing something for myself. My mom, unfortunately, is an advocate of, she's always on the run. And I learned from that. Like she never took, if she would eat, she would eat standing. And while she was eating standing, she had eyes on all the plates for all of us to make sure we had enough of everything. My mom depleted her resources, unfortunately, and my mom, obviously, I alluded to it on air. My mom, unfortunately, suffered a mental breakdown recently, and I always say to her, like, simple things as taking supplements. My mom never did. And I wish she did back then. And that is why I use this time now to learn from her and to say to myself, I do not want to follow that route. Although it was something, I mean, I lived with my parents till I was 27 years old. And everything I learned is we learn as children by watching our parents and not just what they're listening to what they're saying, but we watch what they do. So I think I picked up some of those habits that are bad. And now I'm trying to rectify them for my daughter so that when my daughter, now at the age where she looks at me, but she understands, I just need to make sure I break a bad cycle and I grow a brand new one. And that's what I'm doing.
And they look at you, they watch us.
Hmm.
Learn from what we are doing and how we are being. So it's, yeah, you're
And
doing
not
the
from
right.
what we are saying. They learn from what we're doing. Exactly right, Jane. They watch us, and we sometimes don't realize when I listen to my child, like, if you have a little one and you give your child, like, those toy telephones and cell phones, it
Mm.
is the funniest thing how they will pick up the phone and walk and talk. And my little one used to do it, and I'll go, oh my word, that's me. And when I hear her certain things that she says or how she reacts, I'm like, that is what I would say. So immediately I'm like, okay, I must make sure that I do the right thing. And it's not like you can always be yourself as a parent because you must be yourself and you want to teach your kids, but also just to be conscious of the messages that you impart daily without even realizing little habits or how you deal with stress. Your kid gets the same kind of anxiety. If you are somebody that doesn't deal well with the situations being thrown at you, like if suddenly load shedding and you're afraid of the dark and you don't know what to do and you want to run into a corner, your child picks up that energy. Your child then possibly mimics what you do. So like little things like that, I've learned to just to like wangle myself out of that thought, detangle myself from the old Sush, and now realize, hold on, how I react to things, even if it's an argument or if it's somebody having a loud conversation with me, or if I see something that doesn't sit well with me, do I sit on the fence and then teach my child that that's what you should do to avoid conflict, or do I teach her how to diplomatically address something? And that's what we do, because I want her to find strength in that, and there's strength in vulnerability. So yes, while you might be afraid of the dark like I am, I'm petrified of frogs. I'm petrified of many things. So immediately when I see the situation, I think first, how do I want to teach? This is a learning moment. I must not lose this learning moment. And I want Parvani to grow strong. That's what it is.
Oh, I love that. So what has your self-love journey looked like?
Like I said, it's a new journey for me. Although I'm 43 years old, my self-love journey has always been very complicated because growing up, I faced a lot of bullying for being my dark skin color, and it's a tough one to explain to general South Africans because we broke it down by race, yes, we battled because of apartheid and of color, but mine was a very different kind of apartheid. It was in my own community. For being too dark, you're looked down upon, you're deemed as unattractive, no one will ever marry you. If you're too dark, you might be deemed as like not intelligent enough or unsuccessful. And it's sad because people back then in the day, obviously the influence of apartheid, assumed that a light skin color meant you would be prosperous. A light skin color meant that you would be more successful in finding a marriage partner, or that you would attract wealth, or you would be good, or you're kind. So that has been my biggest thing. The thought, it's so sad that I allowed people to bully me and break me down at a young age, and almost like my dark skin defined the role I'd play in my community. So that affected my self-esteem, and nobody believes it because you think, oh, but Sushi's on the radio, she's so confident. But for many years, and it plagued me, it absolutely destroyed me. But the moment I got to the first radio station and being on a public platform, and people would call in the station, go, oh, you're so dark and you so this and that. That's when I stopped myself. I think I was 21 years old, and I said, that's enough. Enough is enough. And I have to change this rhetoric immediately. So I started to push back, and I said, I'm actually made in the image of God. That's who I am made. I'm made in the image of my mom and my dad. So maybe you want to take it up with them that I'm this color, but I am so glad I am the way I am. I really love who I am. So that journey of loving myself, has been so complicated. And that feeling of validation and that skin color was controlling me. I needed to turn it around, but also realize I had a role to play as somebody in the public arena who was dark skinned, that their children and women who needed someone to be strong for them and to prove to other people that it didn't matter how dark I was. I had something in me, and I was so worthy of sharing, and I didn't need to be validated and people to say to me. I remember people saying to me, even though you're dark, you have such nice features. And I was like, whoa, whoa. When you say, even though I'm dark, you make it sound like it's like a disability or it's, shame. Please do not pity me. I love the skin I am. And it's taken years of reading, taking years of listening, taking years of appreciating and learning to love myself and realize that it's not just about Sush. I stand here to represent other women who are too scared to say what they're going through. And the moment little bits of success popped up, it helped my community change. It helped my community find beauty in me. It was the weirdest thing. Like I grew up, a lot of people saying, shame, but black is beautiful. But it was almost like a second gift. Like it was like a second, it's fine. That wasn't what I wanted. I wanted to be seen from the first day and not to be seen for how I looked on the outside, but for what I have on the inside. So yeah, my self-love journey has been complicated, but now it's gotten better, it's gotten stronger, it's gotten I'm such a different woman, and I wish I could have given Sureshnie at 21 years old or at 13 when she was bullied or at 9 such different advice, because she would have lived a better childhood and not have gone through so many moments of feeling sad and insecure and horrible times. But I know now that those things had to happen for me to be who I am today, and I'm very thankful for this journey that I'm on.
I was just about to say, it's also carved who you are today, and you're able to speak on this topic and actually help other people that are going through the same thing and that are at that age. Even with your daughter and even with her friends, it's going to be such a valuable tool for you to be able to help them step into their power at a younger age.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm loving that. It's a very empowering thing, but it takes a lot emotionally, because you have to deal with that emotionally. You have to recognize what those feelings represent, because in order to move forward, I don't want to carry things of my past. Yes, parts of my past define me and have shaped who I am, but I'm now going to choose the parts that are good for me, that are valuable for me, that bring value into my life. And I cut out the things that were poisonous, cut out the things that didn't bring any happiness or inspiration. I don't need that now. And I cancel that. And I love this new Sush.
Me too, Sush. Me too. I'm loving where you are right now. It's just so beautiful to see. So speaking on girls, what is the hardest part about being a girl mom? And what are you hoping to teach your daughter about self-love and life? So are there any tips for us new moms out there?
I'm still like today. It was a battle about washing hair. Girl, you learn to pick a battle, and my daughter, like I said, my daughter's 10, right? So in a book, I've learned that this is pre-puberty, and it's obviously the washing over of emotions. And I figured that she's trying to also find out her own little identity and figure out who Parvani is, and not be Parvani that myself and my husband wanted to be or hope to be. Nothing like that. Parvani, I think what my hardest part of raising a child, a girl child, is the other elements around the world that we live in. The safety factor is a massive thing. And unfortunately, I think for me, I didn't deal with it correctly, which is why I think it's led to a little bit of anxiety that my child has. My child walks through this world very fearful, just about a safety aspect of South Africa. And I think that's the biggest problem. But it is something that I am working on as a parent. I am realizing how I speak about safety, how I behave around things if I'm afraid, etc., and being open to her and explaining that yes, while we live in a country that is just tormented by all sorts of horrible things like GBV and just crime and security, we have created a safe space for her. And
Mm.
also for her to realize that the elements we can't control, we are aware of. For example, telling her, this is inappropriate. If someone speaks to you in this manner, that is unacceptable. If it is a male or female that encroaches your personal space, you need to say stop and no, and do not be afraid of using your voice, because that is the voice you were given. And recognizing that there is no harm in standing up for yourself. There's no shame in upsetting somebody else, because you, first of all, you have been put in a horrible situation. I think for too long we worry about too much about what the community will say. Oh, how would it affect other people if I said I can't be friends with you anymore? So we teach Pavani every day that it's okay. You have to use your voice, and you have to be strong, and you have to stand up. If you feel something doesn't sit right in your heart, you call it out immediately. Do not be scared that you're going to upset some boy because he suddenly has teased you. And I said, if I ever hear somebody say to you that, oh, I'm only teasing her because I like her. I said, no, 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 no. That was a very 1980s and 1990s kind of behavior. If a boy pulled your pigtails or your hairs because he liked you. In today's times, that is not acceptable. Somebody tapping, a boy tapping my child on a bum, or if it's an adult that's, like, oh, like being cute like that those are kind of things that I know that she's uncomfortable with. And I tell her that is, if no one forces you now to sit on an uncle's lap. We've never allowed that kind of behavior. And I always point those things out. And my husband and I are fully aware that in today's times, as innocent as it might come across, given the climate that we live in and what we hear and what we see, those are the things we want to stop immediately. And we've done that. And I'm so happy that she's a very shy, introverted kind of child, and she's very conscious of how people react to her and how she must behave, etc. And whenever I see something that I don't like, I'm that, not a barking mom. I call it out immediately. And she's always like, Mommy, but don't make a scene. I'm like, when you say make a scene, what do you think? Mom's going to take out her shoes? Or I say, no, no, no. I just stop something immediately. Like if I see children behaving poorly or they're bullying each other, I'm not going to be a fence sitter. I get involved because I feel that is what we need. We need people to stop us immediately and say, hey, that is not acceptable behavior, because that's what I do with my child. I also want her to move through this world with a very basic principle, and it's the gate I walk her through mentally. And I say to her, Pavs, if your friends come to you and they're chatting about so and so and so and so, ask yourself always if your response or what I'm about to say, is it true, is it kind, and is it necessary? As children, it's very easy to gossip and create rumors, and children don't know parameters sometimes, and they're kids. That's what it's part of their learning. But I always say to her, before you say something to somebody, is it the truth? And was it necessary to say or tell her about this, and this? Or was it kind? Because that's what I want it to be. She's a very kind child. My child is very empathetic. Oh, she's got the most compassionate nature, and I revel in that. It's the thing that I'm the proudest of. I don't care if she can color in between the lines. I don't care if she gets maths right or understands NST. But if my child can show compassion and kindness, that is the parenting. That is the prize. That is first prize. So yeah, that's what I'm dealing with as a girl mom. I hope she realizes that she doesn't need to be compared to anyone. She is an only child. So from that regard, she doesn't have that as a gauge, but we don't do that because we allow her to be herself and make decisions and find her own identity. She also can't be a child that lives in my shadow. Oh, mom's a radio presenter, or mom uh, happens to be on a popular platform, or that's what mom does. Parvani wants to be a vet. She wants to be an animal wildlife ranger, and she wants to be a comedian and a filmmaker. And I encourage her, like, do what makes your heart happy. Because I grew up in a home where, in a society where you were told you will study this, this, and this. Once you finish your studies and matric and studies, then you get married, and then and my parents never did that. My parents are like, every finger is completely different in shape and size. You find yourself, your own name and your own platform in the world. And all we are here is to do is encourage you and guide you. And that's what I want for her.
Beautiful. And I think that she is on such a good path just with having you guide her, and self-love in general, because she seems like even though she is a little introvert, she seems like she's very confident within herself.
Yeah. And, like I said, she's such a reflection of me now, because I've realized people don't know this. I'm actually very shy. I am so shy that I build myself into this anxiety when I go into a public space. If we go to an event, I'm invited, for example, I'm invited to a launch of something. I have to go by myself. And I remember this since I was a young person as a DJ, I would go quietly into a corner, grab a cup of tea, and then look around and hope that somebody will come and say hi. I'm petrified. I don't know what it is, but give me a microphone and give me a stage. When I need to do my work, I do my work. And it's the weirdest thing. So in life, I tend to I'm a bit of a hermit crab. People don't realize that. So, but I noticed that she's very similar. Given if she has to do something like an unboxing or we're talking to an adult, she comes to life. She does. But when she's in her own space, then that's who she is. She's quiet. She does her own thing, and I'm okay with that. I always just make sure that I understand that are you okay? Is everything like is it a confidence thing or whatever? But it's okay. It's okay not to be okay. It's okay to be yourself and figure out who you are because that's what we are every day. I mean, at 43, I'm still trying to figure out myself. So how do I put that upon a child and say, these are the ideals you need to be by this age, you must achieve this milestone and you should have been doing this. No, 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 no. Don't compare your kids. Let your kids be. And
Mm.
that's the best advice I give.
Yeah, completely. And they will find their way. They
Hmm,
always do.
they do.
So you've had big changes recently. How are you feeling about it?
I am, wow, where am I? I'm in the second season of my life. You know, what happened was we've been at 5FM for 18 years, and it was the sudden shock that we were told, hey, in 2 weeks' time, it's going to change. Now, I've been a freelancer in my radio career all my life, and how it works for radio, and I don't think many people are fully privy to it. What happens is every year you sign a contract. It's a 1 year contract you have with a radio station, and sometimes they offer you a 3 and a 5 year. Just depends on the actual organization. So we've always done 1 year contracts, and in that year, you get moved into shows, things change, and the organizations can decide, okay, we don't want that show anymore, it's not working, or the audience feels this or whatever. So whatever happened in this particular round was very traumatic because it was like the rug got pulled over us. It was a massive breakfast show, and you don't ever think it would happen. But change is constant. And I look back at the moment when I was told that, hey, listen, the show is being overhauled. I could have reacted in many ways, but I thought that with all the manifestations and the affirmations I had been given myself, it was weird how everything fell into place. It's weird how months before that, I started saving. Like I started saving crazily in COVID. And I think that the universe was preparing me for this moment of like, oh my word, I'm going to lose my job in 2 weeks. How do I survive? And I really feel that it was time. It wasn't like my value or my talent got cut off, but it was the time that got cut short in order for me to begin where I am. There has to be an end in order for me to appreciate a brand new beginning. And I truly believe the universe was preparing me for this. I was 18 years at 5, and it felt like I was a child growing into an adult. And now I'm in the second season. This is my next 18 years. Before I got to 5FM, I suffered something very similar at Lotus FM, where it was a toxic environment for me. I was going through a lot of things. I was feeling uneasy. I was feeling at a space where I was able to walk into a show and just do it without thinking. And then I knew back then mentally, okay, it's time. I've reached the ceiling. It's time for me to move on. And I feel the same thing happened for me 18 years, like all these years later. It's the same thing. And now I'm in a more prepared space. I'm not starting from scratch. I'm now starting from experience. And I feel like the universe is telling me, right, Sureshnie Rider, this is what we had planned for you the whole time. And here you are. So, yes, while it was traumatic and while it is, and I'll find ways of scheduling moments to deal with it emotionally, I just wanted to hit the ground running. I needed to, for myself, to say to myself, Sush, you pick up and you go. You got to keep this moving. This is who I am. I'm that person. And it's been the most amazing revelation. I didn't realize that for many years I took a space for granted and I didn't look up. And I didn't realize that there's a bigger world out there and there is a horizon that exists outside of this framework that I thought was my home. I thought that this was my everything. I didn't obviously want to retire at 5. I mean, never take that as a thing. But I think would have wanted a longer bit of notice. But then I realized, what would that have done? It would not have pushed me to get where I am now. And I think it could have happened. I knew for many years that the time was coming, but I didn't mentally deal with it because like, oh, it'll happen when it happened. And then when it happened so suddenly, shock to the actual system. And yes, I had a wonderful time. I have no regrets. I've got no resentment. I carry none of that with me because it doesn't fuel my future. It doesn't give me anything positive. It doesn't help me as a person. Everybody deals in their own way. And for me, it's taught me that I have a lot to offer this world, and I have found new ways of making my voice live in a new position, something that I actually always wanted to do, and I didn't realize that it existed. So, yes, traumatic, I'm sure, but it's an opportunity for me to grow and learn, and I am so happy. I really am.
And I also think if it doesn't happen that way, when would you have left? Like when would have been the right time? Would you have waited another 2 years so it was like you could finish on 20? Would have been hard for you to have left the show if it was still going, you know what I mean?
100%. And I think it also I would have been 45. And then when you're sitting at 45 or 46, then you think to yourself, okay, so now this is where it's ended. Now I'm an older woman. And how do I get back into this industry? Where do I find myself? Like, I didn't want to be this person that seemed lost. I was never lost. I am not a lost person. I am fully connected to who I want to be. And I've always had that. I think I needed the universe to give me a big boot in the bum and say, right, kid, now you're here. Like when your child suddenly falls into the pool, it's at sink or swim. It's at flight or flight. That's me.
Mm.
That's who I've always been. And that freelancer life maybe enabled me to prepare for the worst, because that's what it is. Freelancer life is 1 year and you never know what's going to happen. So you plan and you plan, 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 and you wait. And I think I am so great. I know I'm so grateful. I'm so happy that it's happened. It happened the way it happened for a reason. And my vision and my purpose is now finally aligning. I needed that traumatic thing to happen for me to land where I am. And I'm so grateful for that. I really am.
So you were on 5FM for 18 years. What are you looking forward to in this next chapter?
The next chapter is so where I've landed at the. Should I talk
Yeah,
about where I'm
just
at the
go
moment?
for it.
All right. So I always wanted to be in programming. Like I've always loved the behind the scenes at Five. Besides at Five FM, in the past 18 years, I wasn't just at Five. I worked at Urban Brew. I was a production manager on Three Talk with Nolene. I got to immerse myself in all sorts of media. All sorts of media. I got to work in lots of little TV shows, etc. So little things along the way have helped build up the struts when it comes to my multi-skilling. It's built up a bank of skills, and I've developed a different kind of skill set. And I got offered an amazing position at Prime Media as a creative solution strategist. And I think it's perfect because in life, I'm a problem solver. I'm a mom, like most moms and dads. That's all we do. We problem solve. Child comes to you, mom, my toy doesn't work. What do? You figure it out. You get the battery, or you leave it out in the sun. You wash this and wash that, and then suddenly it works again. And every day, that's what we work as parents. We are just problem solving. We are figuring out, the kid hasn't done this, or how do we make this work? And now, as a creative strategist, I do the exact same thing across a couple of radio stations like 947, KFM, Cape Talk, 702, and EWN, where clients, they have these challenges where, hey, we've got budget, we want to advertise something, we want to promote and create hype and awareness about our brand, and we want to use radio as the medium and the vehicle. How can we do that on your station? And it's up to me and my colleagues and my peers in this particular department to come up with awesome ideas, to come up with creative means of taking somebody's idea and their thought, putting it into this beautiful like think tank, and then churning out a fantastic idea of making something work. And it's awesome because that is what I was doing as a radio person anyway. Every day of my life, and on our radio show, we had to figure out, how do we keep our listeners happy? How do we inform them? How do we entertain them? How do we educate them? How do we make them feel the magic that we do when we put the microphone on? And that is what I'm doing now. I'm now doing it now in a different way, and my energy and my love for radio and my passion for it is fallen into a new shape. And that's what it is. It's like plasticine. It just got molded into a brand new shape. And I'm excited because I get to work behind the scenes. I get to now realize, whoa, that's the behind. I get to dismantle what was the radio and now figure out how I did it in the first place, and then watch it grow into an on-air thing for somebody to execute. And it is amazing and phenomenal, and it's challenging. And don't laugh, Jane, the couple of new things that I've learned, I've never had to use Excel my entire life. And I've never learned to use Excel. I sit and I watch YouTube tutorials, and people might think that is seriously like seriously, seriously. But if given our different industries, in my industry, I did not need to use Excel. But maybe if you're in your world, you needed it, or maybe you needed how to use the Microsoft package. I didn't. And now I've learned a new skill. And then the other day, I had to learn to use costing. And I've never done costing. So I needed to figure out Excel. How does this cell divide into this cell? Because watching these people work, I'm like, dude, I'm going to fail. I don't even know how to do this. But I learned it. The other day, I've only been a month in the job, but I set up to like 11 o'clock. I'm like, I have to beat this. I have to beat this thing. That's the self imposter that tells me I can't do it. No, I've got to beat this, because if I get it right, I'm going to feel so good. And it took me back to when I started off being a DJ. The desks, the actual physical studios were initially analog, and at some point it moved into digital, which means I had to learn a new skill. It's the exact same thing, except for I've left that 18 years, and I'm starting a brand new 18 years. And it's lovely. It really is lovely. So that's why I've landed on my feet. I'm firm. I'm so happy. And again, I do feel this was the universe telling me that this is where I needed to be. I had lots of conversations for advice. And this is the one place I didn't apply, because I have a lot of friends who work there. And I didn't feel like, I'm not sure. My previous bosses, I had beautiful conversations with them when obviously the thing was happening at 5. And they said to me one simple thing: what do you want to do? And I was like, well, I can do this, this, and this. And they go, So listen to the question. What do you want to do? And I went back that week and I wrote down, okay, what do I want to do? I know I have this skill set, but what do I really want to do? What would make me happy? And the more I refined it, the more I put the words down, the more when I heard about the position and when I interviewed it, I'm like, that's what I wanted to do this whole time. I just didn't know how it existed in terms of the title. I didn't have the title. So yeah, that's what I'm doing.
That's amazing. I can't wait to hear all the stories. And we will be like, oh, Sushi did that behind the scenes. So now that you are behind the scenes, what was your favorite thing about being on radio?
I'm a people person. I love connections. I connect with people in the most authentic and organic way. It's whatever I am on the radio is who I am in real life. And if I meet you, you will hear this bubbly laugh and energy, and that's who I am. I'm very real about that. So when I MC weddings, for example, and people go, "Oh my God, it's Sush," I'm the exact same person, and it's important for me to be real. It isn't something that you go out and go, okay, in my life I must try and be real. It is who you are. It's naturally in you. It's intrinsic. And my parents were very strict about humility growing up. They were like, humility is everything, Sureshnie. There's no egos in this house. It doesn't matter how famous you get or how important you think you are in your head. But in this house, these are the rules, and the door frames don't adjust for any ego. I love that, because I carried that with me ever since I was a child. And I do miss the part of connecting with people where I get to speak to them all the time, or connecting with them on air, where I put the microphone and I will talk about a show or a song, or hearing somebody on the other side. But I've realized that connections actually exist in every part. People talk to me now on Facebook more than they did on air. People who've never phoned a radio show have always communicated with me, and same as Instagram and whatever social media platform where they find me, and they share stories with me. And I do, like I said, the excitement and the energy of radio, I can never explain that feeling. Oh my word, it is when you walk into a studio, can't explain the energy, but energy exists everywhere, and it's how you now bottle it and take it to the next phase. So yeah, while I miss that, I think I'm enjoying the connecting part better now.
I can definitely attest to you being exactly how you are in person, because we met years ago. I can't remember if it was It's a Bling thing first or if it was Blow the Whistle first. Was it It's a Bling thing?
It's a blink.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you first did your business, yes, you. And I still have all my cups, my mugs that I bought from your girl, Beyonce. I've got my Nama Slay. I've got all those beautiful
I love it. It
things.
feels like so long ago. But yeah, so we met
Yeah.
via my online shop, and then we met in person in Joburg, and because you're doing that Blow the Whistle campaign. And you're exactly the same
Yeah.
in person. And we've just connected on social media over the years and stayed in touch. And just, yeah, we even chatted before this with our videos on and chatting. And it's just like, you are exactly who you are.
Yeah.
On radio is exactly who you are in person. And I think it is It's so nice. And you can just always tell on social media when someone is super pretentious and they're literally like putting on a facade, whereas you can see you're exactly the same. And I'm just going to reiterate for the people out there, I attest to that. You're exactly.
Oh, thank you. That is the nicest thing anyone's ever said. Thank you. And you know what? That is the prize that I want them. When people say, "What is your life highlight?" or "What is the thing you are most proud of?" That is what I'm most proud of. Because, like I said, it's the thing that my parents taught me first. And it's the thing that I hoped that I never would lose, given the kind of arena and space I've had to play in. I've got to do such unreal, unbelievable, beautiful things. And not every South African has the privilege sometimes of interviewing their idols or getting to travel, and I have. And I always remind myself, Sush, it's life. Never let it define. Never let it get to your head. You must still be the same girl, because that is what should make you proud. And when you say that, I get so happy. So thank you so much, because you are then the benchmark in my life. Your gauge. You're watching me, just like how my child is watching me. You're there to make me accountable, and I don't want to change. So thank you so much. Thank you.
I don't think you will. You are that person. So even though we're not going to, like, inverted commas, see you or hear you on the radio anymore, where can we expect to see you in the future? Are you still emceeing? Are you doing voiceovers? Like,
Yeah.
where can we see?
So I still love my MC work, and I'm so glad to still be doing it. I spend a lot of, in fact, next weekend I'm actually emceeing a wedding again. COVID obviously put a stop to many of the things that I do from an MC public perspective. However, I found myself finding a new little niche where a lot of my clients are hosting virtual events. So I do a lot of corporate TV still. I host a lot of events virtually. I was so lucky to do a massive campaign with a client, and I launched their company via Africa and the States, and it was massive and it was beautiful. And I, again, learned to realize you can step out of your arena, and you sometimes don't realize you can do these things because you think you can't, and you place these little boundaries upon yourself. And yeah, so I still do that. I still do my voiceover work. So my podcast has always been my pet project. And again, it's because I was so shy. I was so worried. Oh my goodness, that self imposter crept in. Would this be good enough like everybody else's? Could I sustain it? Could I do this? And it's been years of work, and I've kept all of that together. So I am launching that, and it's called Live, Learn, Love, and it's based on my primary school motto, the motto that I love the most. It's called Live, Learn, Love. And in my podcast, what it will be, it's about my experiences and my connections with people who have taught me to live a better life, people that I've learned from, and people that I absolutely love. And if you know who I am, my high school teacher, Miss Schultz, called me Sunshine. That was the nickname. Maybe I was convinced you couldn't say Sureshnie, but she always said, "You remind me of Sunshine." That's who you, and up to today, she still calls me Sunshine. And that's who I am. That friendly, happy disposition is what I want to give back to the world, because I think we need it. And my podcast will be that. I'm now also making that podcast a once a month ladies lunch gathering, because I think getting together with like-minded women, encouraging each other, helping each other bloom, helping each other grow, that is what I want to do. I've always wanted to be that person. I love giving back, and I feel throughout my life so many women have given to me, so many men have grown me, and I want to give back by introducing these people to other people. So my podcast is going to become an actual working event, where a networking thing, where once a month, for now it's in Johannesburg, obviously, because I'm based here. We invite women, we get a lovely lunch at a lovely hotel, and then we chat and we converse, and then we learn from each other, and we walk away. And I think a lot of people want to do that. That beautiful opportunity to share and watch others grow. That is such a beautiful gift to give. So that is what I'm going to be doing. I'm still doing that. I still MC, like I said. I'm lucky that I'm working in the broadcasting industry, which means it's opened up a wonderful opportunity to grow within this space. And there's so much available for me to grow. I'm just taking those skills, and yeah, the world's my oyster. It's very different. And people are like, "Oh, we miss your voice." But I said to them, yes, I miss my voice, but it's now living in a brand new platform. And whether or not it returns to a traditional radio station, I don't know. I'm actually more excited about trusting the universe for the first time and saying, what will be, will be. I'll just need to roll with it. And that is the year for me. That is the year of ferrying myself across to happiness and success, and realizing that it doesn't always come in the form that you imagine. So if I always thought I wanted to be a radio DJ, maybe I am a radio DJ in a very different format. And that's what I'm looking forward to.
I think the podcast is going to be amazing. That is such exciting news. See, then everyone can just listen to your voice on your podcast. It's amazing.
Oh, what's happening? Same Sush, but with lots to say.
Yeah.
And also, I think they might realize, like recently, I've been have been so blessed with people like yourself asking me to be interviewed for their podcasts or to be interviewed on their platforms. And sometimes people don't realize who Sush really is, and it's nice. I'm like an onion at this stage. I'm showing my layers. I'm getting to speak openly about things like polycystic ovarian syndrome. I'm getting to reveal parts of me that maybe I didn't have an opportunity to talk about because we were playing music, or I was doing a top 40, or I was doing a breakfast show. But people know the person that I am. I'm very maternal, very loving, very kind. I'm adventurous and curious and agile and all of those things. And now I'll get to show them a little bit more about me, and also walk out of this shyness that I have, and people that don't believe that I'm actually very shy and introverted. So now I'm stepping out of that a little bit more, and sharing a bit more authentic journeys is important, because again, if people didn't know what I went through being dark skinned and how it affected me and how I got here, and people didn't realize how I'm navigating losing a job during COVID, but also starting something brand new, it is a wonderful thing to learn from there. And yeah, I'm excited to share that open part of me about how I cry, how my mom's health affects my life every day, and how my dad's health affects my life every day, and how loss and the process of grieving has affected my life, and what I look forward to as a parent to a growing daughter. Yeah, and I think that's going to be a very different part of Sush, and I'm so excited to share that.
Oh, it's going to be amazing. So, speaking of the universe, I picked a card for you from the Super Attractor deck from Gabrielle Bernstein. And it said,
Oh, I love her as an author. I love her.
I'm going to send you the picture because I think it's so aligned. It's ridiculous. I let the
Really?
universe catch up with my dreams. So I let the universe catch up with my dreams.
No. No way. Oh, I want to cry.
How crazy?
We just spoke about that. We spoke about the first 18 years being in radio, and now positioning my new dream, the dreams that I always held. And now the universe saying, okay, Sureshnie, I want to pick up that you wanted to be programming. I want to pick up that you had these ideas and you wanted to see other people grow. And I want to pick up that you wanted a more stable life. And this is where I'm at. Oh, that is just unreal.
But
I
it's,
get
it's
goosebumps.
it's the right path. So basically, for me, that's just telling you that you had all these dreams subconsciously. You didn't know what the wording was or what they were, but you subconsciously wanted this life for yourself, and you wanted this like structure and being able to have more time at home and things, and not waking up at 3:30. And
Yeah.
um,
And getting UIF, guys, and Provident Fund. Let me tell you,
ah,
in the 24 years that I worked at this organization, I walked out with nothing, not one brown cent.
wow.
So this is also the thing that I'm teaching other people, that this is what happens in real life, and this is how you need to foolproof and prepare yourself. And this is where I find myself, where I'm like, I'm starting from like zero, and I'm gonna grow this. And it's okay that I'm on the same path as most people who've worked long jobs and never had UIF or access to money like that. So this is where I'm at. And it's like, therein lies the lesson. Therein lies the lesson that I'm going to share on my podcast, to say, okay, you've lost your job. You've never saved. It's all right. It's not the end of the world. This is how you are going to diversify your portfolio. These are the little things you're going to start to do to save and start yourself, because many people go through this, Jane. They go through divorces where they've left with nothing, like financially, or they've lost their jobs and they've had to quickly use whatever savings they had, and then they invested in a business that flunked during COVID. And that's where I find myself. So I'm on the same footing as many people. And I want to tell people, because they look up to people like myself and go, oh, you have it all together. Oh, you've been in radio, so you're famous, so everything falls in place. No, nothing. I've had helpers have taken me to a CCMA, and they got money that I have never even gotten from my current organization. And things like that, like little things like that, that is how we need to move forward. Like, right, here we are. How do you respond? It's how you react to things that will determine where you will land. And I'm so happy that the universe has guided me and told me that it is okay to have these big dreams. And when it's the time, the answers might be, the questions come like this for me when I ask the universe, is this job for me, or am I going to be okay? And it'll say things like, yes, but not for you right now, or no, this isn't for you because I have grander plans, or yes, this might be for you, but not just yet. And when I have those active conversations with God every single day, that is how he responds. And then I'm like, right, then show me. And I need to put those energies out there, and whatever I'm supposed to attract will come. So I'm excited about that. I really am. And that card just is such a validation. So thank you.
Yeah, it literally is exactly what you're speaking about. So this has been amazing. And it's such a nice way for people to see what your podcast is going to sound like, and just, how authentic you are and down to earth and just so loving and sunshine. Where can people find you on social media in the meantime?
Okay. Well, firstly, if people, a lot of people have been chatting to me on Instagram, which is really such an awesome platform. But I've realized during the time of our last shows, I got hundreds of messages, and somehow I didn't get a chance to get around to every one of them. And I try very hard, and I do respond to people directly. And it's been exciting how certain messages have just popped up. So find me on Instagram. It's at Sureshnie, and it's S for sugar. I always go S for sugar, U for umbrella. So it's Sureshnie. Sureshnie, and it will say Rider. My surname is Rieder. I'm on Twitter. It's at Sureshnie. On Facebook at Sureshnie Rider. You can email me if you want. It's sureshnie@gmail.com. I love contacting and being in connections with people. And when this podcast launches and does its thing, that's how you're going to find me. But just find me. I'm always available. People find me on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. It's always a great spot to be. And yeah, that's the best place to find me.
And then when you launch a podcast, I'll share it as well. Can't wait to start listening. Add more to that.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And Jen, thank you so much for being so generous. Not everybody wants to share. But thank you for, being so generous and offering me an opportunity to be on your podcast and just to share my life and just to be in your space. So thank you so much. I appreciate your energy and you, like time, like I said in the very beginning, you asked me what is the most important in my self-care journey. It's about time and being fully present and appreciating when people give me their time and how to honor that. And I thank you for that. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you for giving up your time on your self-care Sunday. I hope you're going to go do the mask or something now as well.
Hey, girl, I'm just juggling the fact that we've had load shedding and no water for a couple of days. But today's self-care Sunday is a school one because I need to help halves. We didn't get a chance with load shedding. Shops didn't have energy and power. So today we're going to scramble and get all of our school things done. And because I'm now working a full-time job and the first time in my whole life, how have people ever been doing 8 to 5? My word. I'm learning. Sunday is meal prep. So I'm learning how to do lunch boxes and how to prep for the week. So yeah, new skill set. I'm enjoying it.
I love it. I will see you guys next week, but I'll put everything in the show notes as well so you can find Sush really easily. And I'll be sending you all the woo-woo stuff as well. So I will see you guys next week. Thanks for listening to Unselfishly Me. Follow us on Instagram at unselfishlyme and check out our website www.unselfishlyme.com.